This is Krishna-De of bizgrowthnews.com, and I'm just here in the evening, as you may see by the lighting here, but I'm here with Matt Delahunty at the back of the Ogilvy offices here in Dublin, and Matt is with DDB creative team in terms of a brand that they've just been doing some new advertising for, which is Budweiser. Might be a brand that you enjoy drinking. In fact, here you can see we've been having pizza and Bud.
Great product placement.
It was very good. Thank you for that. Matt, we've just had a great evening. You've connected here to a number of people who are bloggers in Ireland, and we had the opportunity to really see behind the scenes of this new ad that's coming out called All Together Now. But why don't you tell our listeners here, really what it's about and what you're hoping is going to be achieved by the new ad?
Yeah, look, Budweiser's got an amazing history of making iconic ads, populist ads that make it, really entertain everyone, like the What's Up, the Frogs, the Lizards, and this ad was about getting back to its roots and hopefully doing something similar. The ad in its most simplest form it's an ad about people from all over a city coming together to spell out the words to a famous Beatles song called All Together Now. It was shot from the perspective of a train as it tracks around Chicago, shot over 5 days in one of the most remarkably complex shoots you'll ever see. There's a whole lot of information about that on the website alltogethernow.ie. But yeah, it's been 17 months in the making, and we finally got to the point where it's about to launch on Independence Day, Saturday the 4th of July, and everyone's very excited.
And we had the opportunity to connect. It was terrific because you had on Skype a couple of other guys from DDB from the UK, and also the person who was the producer for the film. I don't know if I've given him the right title, or the director Chris, Chris Palmer.
Yep.
He also shot ads like, I think you mentioned the Skoda ad where it was made of cakes.
Skoda cakes,
yeah. That's a very famous ad, and a few other notable ones.
Yeah, he's an amazingly talented director, Chris, and one of arguably the best in the business. And I guess his vision in building and what Richard and Dave came up with was remarkable. And it's just been a journey that we've all been, it's very privileged to be a part of.
Now, it was quite some journey, wasn't it? It was about 17 months from start of the concept through to where we are now. Take us through some of the things that you have to go through when creating an ad of that scale, including, because we had an interesting debate and some people were quite surprised about the whole issue in terms of music, because you talked there about you using a Beatles ad, but that actually has to go through a process as well when you're using music like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, in its simplest form, and I won't give you too much, try and keep it as short as possible, but you put in a brief to a creative team, a great team like Dave and Rich, they come back with a script for an ad. You present it to the client, they like it, and you eventually go up to directors, and it's that process which is really important, because it's how a creative team and a director interpret a script really brings a spot to life in the end. The actual song that we chose, All Together Now, the Beatles track, wasn't actually part of the script. It's something we found further down the line in pre-production. It was actually written as part of the script of a song that everyone likes and wants to sing along to. I remember that line. That was actually what was on the script. So that came further down the line. This spot was very unique in the sense that we had to find the music track before we shot the ad, whereas usually you shoot the ad and then afterwards you find a piece of music that fits it. So we had to find this track beforehand, which was hard, because in regards to dealing with the Beatles estate, like you say, it's remarkably complex, because they have such a great, an amazing collection of music, obviously the Beatles, that they're very protective of them. So you have to be involved with them very closely along the way, and happily they liked the ad, and were very supportive of the concept from the start, and very happy that they did like the final one and allowed us to run it, actually. Yeah.
In fact, when people look at the ad, they'll understand that, because everything had to be timed and perfect. It had to be perfect. So you had to, create, as you said, that script to fit with that music, because actually what you're doing in the ad is, it will be very clear when people see it. Every single character or number actually comes up in time. That must have been meticulous in terms of the timing. And you were saying that it was filmed over 5 days in very, very cold weather.
Yeah, -2 in Chicago in November. I was quite naive. I'd never been to the States before, and thought Chicago in November can't be that bad, but it was lividly cold. But yeah, it was the actual train had to. We had our own train which had to integrate into the existing Chicago rail network. And we were told, for example, you can't go onto this line for another half an hour because we've got peak hour, and to shoot a scene, the most interesting thing I found was for a particular scene we had a set speed, so you have to go 28.7 miles per hour so it fits in time with the song. So the poor train driver was sitting there on his speedo trying to get the exact time. Then on a separate scene you had to be 32.4 miles per hour, which was often interesting. Like the guy, Chris Palmer, said that we had a few hiccups when, for example, they were doing welding underneath the tracks, and they said you can't go over 20 miles per hour, which threw out the shot, and you can make adjustments along the way. So it was as much a case of experimentation as anything. I look back on it, and to be honest, technically I don't know how we did it, but it all worked out well in the end, I guess.
Now, you're also building some element of hoping that this is going to become very social.
Yeah.
Obviously within the guidelines in terms of the Diageo marketing code of practice, in terms of advertising and being responsible. This is an advert that's been released here in Ireland first, and it may well go to other markets.
Sure.
And you were saying it'd be interesting if this might be the first non-US made ad that might even be aired in the US. We'll watch out to see if that happens later on this year.
Do.
But tell us a little bit about how you're hoping that people might actually get together. And whilst this ad was shot for the Irish market in the US, there's an opportunity that may happen for this ad to be shot in Ireland for Ireland. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, the premise of this is that the ad, when you actually see it, is about people coming together to spell out the lyrics to a famous Beatles song. The challenge that we are going to throw down is now you'll need to go to www.altogethernow.ie, which launches live on the 4th of July. The premise of this is that you submit a clip to of you holding up a word or a lyric to the song. Submit that to the site. We will then cut together an edit, of the best takes. Hopefully get it cleared by the Bills Estate, and then run that ad online. So basically create a new ad. If the quality of the submission is good enough and it's good, and everyone thinks it's great enough, we'll then run that ad on air on TV. So I guess the catch is that people can, basically people could potentially appear on TV simply by holding up their mobile phone to their face and holding up a lyric. So that's the vision. Hopefully, if we get enough support for it, hopefully it'll happen.
So if you don't just want to be a YouTube star, you want to go onto the real TV, there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, exactly. And full credit to Budweiser and also Diageo-Ireland, because they've been amazing, amazingly brilliant behind this. And if the edit is good enough and if we get enough support behind it, they'll back that. And I've got to thank them for sticking their necks out on this as well.
Well, we look forward to seeing what happens there. So just remind us once again of how people can find out more about it and see. In fact, what I also liked was the fact you put a site there with all of the history of it, the kind of the how it came about.
Yeah.
I think there's some shoots there with the costume designers and other people who've been involved. So you really get a sense of actually behind the scenes.
Yeah, you do. It's altogethernow.ie. There's making of clips from there's a video about a pre-production meeting and the wardrobe and set designers. And also behind the scenes edits. There's lots of content there for you to have a look at. And if you want to get involved, that is live from this Saturday, the 4th of July, which is when the TV ad launches on Sky as well. So keep an eye out for it.
Thanks so much. We've been talking to Matt Delahunty, who's Accounts Director at DDB. And we're here, this is Krishna-De signing out. I'm going back to my pizza and my Budweiser, actually.
Likewise.
Actually, that's Matt, so I've got to go elsewhere to find mine. Thanks again, Matt. This is Krishna-De.
Absolute pleasure.
Of bizgrowthnews.com.